Okay, I too have some giveaways. Who did not go to Garden Cafe last night? All right. You get a cookbook. Okay, this cookbook is awesome because it has a QR code. You take a picture of your phone, it takes you to a video or picture of people making the recipe. All right, can't get better than this. So if you, go to Garden Cafe, don't buy anything, and then you get a book. All right, who is too embarrassed to say they went to Garden Cafe and wants to admit it? Joyce, put your hand down, you can get a free book. Anyone else want a free, okay. Do you want a regular or diabetic cookbook? Doesn't mean you have diabetes, it just means regular. Okay, sounds good. All right, it's a really cool book. Okay, who ran with us this morning? Okay, how do you guys feel? Okay, except for Tony. Right. Tony, you can't be sore, dude. We ran like 1.5 miles.
Okay, thanks for pointing it out.
Okay. But one thing, did people that ran, does your brain feel more engaged? Yes. Honestly?
Yes.
Okay, so we just did like 5 intervals. We ran like 100 yards fast, then walked half a lap, then 100 yards fast. We did like 5 times. So that's something called HIIT. I'm going to talk about HIIT tomorrow, high intensity interval training. But basically in 20 minutes you get 45 minutes worth of work, like jogging for 45 minutes in 20 minutes. But the biggest thing about exercise, and it's really important for us, is it activates your brain. Who wants to have an alert, active brain? Okay, there's some people here that don't care, not listening. That's okay. All right, the other thing is please sign up for the 5K. You can walk it. You don't have to win the thing, but it's a great charity, homeless people. The income disparity in the United States, that's a huge problem. So we make some dent into that. And also, you're going to be active. It's a good thing for you. Also, tomorrow, we're not going to run. We're just going to actually do some body weight exercises. So if people want to come out, 7 o'clock. Better yet, come at 6:30 for prayer meeting. 7 o'clock, we're going to do some just body weight exercises. It'll be real easy to do. All right, so we'll get going. So I think it's important. We're halfway through the week, so we should refocus on why we are actually here. So I really love the theme of this week's camp meeting, which is restore. All right, now when it comes to exercise, there's another way to kind of look at this. What kind of words do you use when you think about exercise? Other words in place of exercise? Calisthenics. Calisthenics, okay. You know, good. I was afraid someone was going to say like a cuss word or something. But any other words? Strengthen. Okay, those are all good. The word I thought of for this, because was recreation. One of the big problems we have is exercise, and we'll talk about this later, is equivalent to torture. All right, and we have to get away from that. Now also, recreation is fun, that's what I do as a kid, but the other thing about this word, if you just change the emphasis on it, I'm not an English major or anything, but you get this word, recreation. Exercise is the one way you can rebuild, remake who you are. When you really start understanding that, thinking about that, it is an incredibly powerful tool that you can use to really reshape your life. Okay, why should we exercise? Okay, this didn't work. All right, listen, the people that can't run, that are slow, you're going to die first during the zombie apocalypse. Okay? Wow, this is hard. Okay, so running is a really good survival skill. All right, I'm going to go ahead. That didn't work. How about this one? It's not that diabetes, heart disease, obesity runs in your family. It's that no one runs in your family. All right, it's not genetics. It's what you're doing with your lifestyle. Okay? All right. This is some fasting survey data. We're going to go through this pretty much in detail. These are the 5 biggest New Year's resolutions. Number 1, lose weight. Number 2, exercise. All right? Those are almost always the dominant things that people say, I'm going to get it together this new year. Here's what's really interesting. By the time you get out to about 1 year, 88% people have failed. And this is the failure rate by 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months. This gets more interesting down here. People quit their exercise program. 40% quit in 7 weeks. At 3 months, 7% quit. What's really awesome is this. Gym membership. Who goes to a gym to work out? All right, what does January look like? It's like a zoo. What does March look like? Everyone loves March again. All right. What's even more scary though is they estimate that 4 out of 5 gym memberships are not used. So people are paying LA Fitness money and they never go. Elliot is laughing in the back row, which implies that he is one of those guys, I think. Okay. All right. The other thing though is, look at this. Healthcare business in America, and this is supplements, health clubs, and every infomercial you see on internet or TV is a $62 billion industry. And who are they making the money off of? Us. All right, there's a lot of cheaper ways to get this thing done. All right, let's talk about it. Now, our lifestyles have totally changed, and that's one of the big factors here. So here we have farmers walking. All right, in the old days, you walked around, you carried stuff, milk, hay, whatever. Anyone know what farmers walk is? This is an exercise called farmers walk. So you can pay to join CrossFit, and they give you weight, and you walk around the neighborhood. This is a legitimate exercise, okay? And we do this because we don't lift anything anymore, all right? If we just did that a little bit more around the house, yard work, it'd make a big, big difference. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is if anyone's interested in these slides, I'll make them available to you. Give you a thumb drive. I'll give you a web link after the conference, so you don't have to take pictures or worry about it. Okay, can you get thin fast? What's the answer? $62 billion, come on. Yeah, the answer is no. All right, it's very depressing. Who's flown in an airplane recently? Do you read like Skyways and those magazines? Go to the very back. Has anyone read ROM? Have you seen this ad? 4 minutes a day and you will get totally fit. Okay, now, where's the other part of it? Oh, gotta go back here. Oh shoot, I didn't copy this. If you read the fine print of ROM, at the very bottom, it goes 4 minutes a day on the ROM machine, plus 20 minutes of stretching and strength exercises and 20 minutes of cardio. I mean, it's in the fine print. It's ridiculous. Okay, do you know how much this box costs? How much ROM costs? $5,700. So they are totally, there's a word I want to use to describe what they're doing to us, but Joyce will be offended, but they are totally taking advantage of us, okay? Interesting. Everyone thinks they exercise enough or a lot. This is a great study done in Norway. They gave people 2 things, an accelerometer, so they knew exactly how much they were walking, moving, and how aggressive they were, and they gave them a notebook. They go, write down how much you exercise, and we're gonna take their data off your watch. And this is what they found out. So first thing's interesting, difference between reported, measured activities, what they wrote down and what they actually did. Everyone overestimated their work by an hour. Everyone thought they were more active by an hour. This is where it gets really interesting. Self-reported vigorous activity, where you're really working out hard. Men go, I do 20 minutes a day. What their actual time was? 2.9 minutes. All right, start thinking about this, all right? Women, you're all laughing, but come on. Now, this is interesting too, because I have a lot of patients come to me, and they go, Doc, I'm not losing weight. I go to Curves 3 times a week. I'm exercising, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And what are the 2 questions you always ask people about exercise? How long? Now this is the problem with how long. The first question I ask them, no one saw you. The first question that I ask is, were you short of breath? Were you huffy puffy? And they're like, no, I was talking the whole time to my friend. All right, which means they weren't working out. The second thing is, were you even sweaty? Sometimes like, no, not really. So the exertion level was not high enough to have any kind of stress on their body. Okay, this gets really interesting too. Reported sedentary activity, how much are you sitting down? This is what they thought they sat down. If you can do the time, 60 minutes per hour, people are sitting down a lot. Now the real problem is everyone underestimated the sitting time for about 2 hours. So you're sitting 2 hours more than you thought you were. All right, so the bottom line here is we just aren't as healthy as we think we are. All right, that's one of the problems. Sitting disease, anyone know what this is? Yeah, they say this is like the new smoking. And it's exactly everything that you guys are doing right now is sitting down. And that's, sorry about that. And so like American Idol, instead of American Idol singing, American Idleness. All right. They also call this hypokinetic disease, lack of motion. And there's actually some really good data here. This is a study from Australia. I think it was like 200,000 patients. It's hard to interpret the bar graphs, but the bottom line is the more you sit, the more likely you are to die. All right, and they track this from hours up to 8 hours up to 11 hours. So moving around, breaking it up is a big deal. Now people go, I have a standing desk. There's a new study just came out, I don't have it in here. Standing desks probably have this much impact on sitting. Now, one thing that could help, who has a Fitbit in here? Okay, so who has their inactivity monitor turned on? Who even knows they have an inactivity monitor on their Fitbit? You guys are Asian, man. You should be high tech and all into this stuff. Okay, so you can set it so like every hour, if you haven't moved, it'll buzz or beep you. And so what they found out, if you walk around for about 5 minutes every hour, that negates a big chunk of the negative effect of sitting around for an hour. So that's why after my talk, we're going to have a little break, and we have it all the time, and then we're going to have the next session. Okay. Now, there's two big theories about why people have become obese in the United States. And the one big theory is high caloric intake, high processed carbs, soda pop, calorie intake. The other theory, and I think both are actually right, is inactivity. So if you just focus on the all-women graph, this is how many people had no exercise back in the 1980s. Black bar is how many women now don't do any exercise. It went from 19% to 51%. All right, same thing here for all men. This is all different ethnic groups. 11% of men did nothing back in the 80s, 90s. Now about 43% of men don't do anything. All right, and then don't raise your hands, but think to your own self, do I exercise for 150 minutes per week, minimum? Betty's shaking her head in the front row. Okay, so think about that. If you're not doing that, then you are now starting to qualify into this group here. Okay, this is what every patient, every person, every father, mother, teacher, whatever tells me. I don't got time, I'm too busy, all right? So, have you done the math here? How much is 30% of your waking hours? 24 hours minus 8 hours sleep times 60 minutes divided by 30. So what percentage is that? What? No, how many minutes, what percentage is 30 minutes of your waking hours? At least you tried, Tony. I'm impressed by that.
There's a reason why I wasn't in the science conference.
Yeah.
You see.
Okay, so if you figure out 30 minutes is only like 3% of your waking hours. They don't have that? Oh, yep. And the deal is really, are you worth 3% effort? We talked, I think, a day ago about eating healthy costs $1.50 per person per day. Are you worth $1.50? Is your health worth $1.50? Is your health worth 3% of your effort? If you say no to either of those, then no one can help you. But if you think, hey, I'm worth some effort, then yeah, you can make a big difference, can make a big change here. All right, this is really important. Exercise is the most effective and least used therapy for energy, mood, mental clarity, better sleep, and weight loss. All right, if you want to not be depressed, want to be more energetic, have a more clear mind, have a better attitude, and you can sleep better, which all helps all these things anyway, then you should really exercise. And the example here is, a bunch of us have kids. When your kid is starting to take a nap at 6 or 7 p.m., what do? You wake that kid up. Why? Yeah, because he's going to sleep, he's going to be up to like 4 a.m. What we do to our kids, we try to tire our kids out, so when we put them down, they stay down. All right? Not stay down like we shot them or something, but they're down. All right? Now, for us, we need to tire ourselves out so that when we go to sleep, we're out. All right? The Fitbit thing is really cool too, because it monitors how good your sleep is, etc. So you might want to check that out as well. Okay, now what's interesting is how quickly can you get out of shape? Anyone want to guess? Suppose you're like in really good shape, you just ran a marathon, and you go, I'm gonna just chill out. How long until you, yeah, it's about 2 weeks. Have you guys heard this talk? Okay. Yeah, this is interesting. This is from an ICU study. So they have patients on a ventilator, not terminal, so they cannot move in the ICU. And what they did is they actually ultrasounded their quads, so you got cross-sectional area of their muscles. And they also did a punch biopsy, and they looked at their DNA expression. So they knew exactly how much protein was being made, how much protein was being broken down. So it's a very good study. But the bottom line, as you can see, is basically in 10 days, and definitely by 14 days, these guys have lost 20% muscle mass. Their muscles had shrunk 20% in basically 2 weeks. What's really interesting is, this is the biopsies. This is normal cell, this is a cell membrane, looks really good. Here, just from doing nothing, you have a lot of breakdown. You're losing muscles. Your muscles are dying off. It's amazing. All right, now if that happens in 2 weeks, Think of like 2 weeks, you lose 20%, next 2 weeks, you lose another 20%. And so the number keeps getting smaller. So you take like 2 months off, and what happens?
It's squishy.
Yeah, you get really squishy. Yeah, you get really out of shape really, really fast. So think about that. So you can't, and that's why, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but you miss a couple of days, don't get depressed, just get back on the wagon. But if you keep, it's too late, it's gone by, it really is gonna get a lot worse here. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that, you have to have some kind of motivation to have a life-changing, lifestyle event or something. So they actually looked at this. How many people after a heart attack or a stroke go, I gotta change my life, man? Any guesses? This is fascinating data. Huh?
5%.
Ooh, these pretty, huh? 1%, the nihilist speaks. Okay. It's actually, it's 4.7% will decide to stop smoking, eat better, and try to exercise. That's it. So you think about this, you go, hey, surely you can't be serious. And what's the answer? Don't call me Shirley. All right, that movie's too old for this crowd, I'm sorry. Okay, this movie's called Airplane, for those of you that don't know. Okay. Now, fitness is really, really important. It's not just all about weight. My wife keeps reminding me to stop talking about weight, but talk about all the other factors, which is correct, it's really important. There's a really interesting study looking at fitness. And basically, the more you can exercise, these are survival curves, the lower your mortality. And that makes sense. You're more fit, you're in shape, you can tolerate a lot more. What's really interesting, and this is complicated, we're just gonna focus on the women here. This is women who are low cardiovascular fitness, the black bar, their mortality. And this is women high cardiovascular fitness with the gray bar. They basically had a 50% reduction, even though they have hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoke, and are overweight. Being fit can overcome a whole bunch of other and cover up a whole multitude of sins. All right, so exercise is really, really important. I don't have a picture of her, but you've seen about that obese ultra-marathoner? So it's like you look at her and go, you can't be a runner, but I mean, she does like 100-mile runs and stuff, and she's losing weight, but it's like amazing. Until she loses all the weight she wants to, she's still outrunning all of us. It's amazing. Okay, this is talking about obesity and fitness. And so just to sum up the study real quickly, basically exercise or being fit reduces your risk by 7%. Being non-obese or ideal weight reduces your risk by 3%. Basically being fit is 2 times more important than being at your ideal body weight. All right, so exercise is critically important. This is actually a worse response than the don't eat meat part, because everyone was depressed about not eating meat. Now people are depressed, I have to exercise. All right, we'll talk about exercise. This actually should be a fun thing. Okay, we talked about this the other day, but this is on the flip side here. All right, so DNA, genetics are important, but the epigenetics, what we do, what we think, what we eat, that impacts what our gene expression is. So there's a great example here. And this is actually really interesting. If you remember back in the 70s, you didn't want to be the 99-pound scrawny kid. And then everyone wanted to gain weight. And now everyone wants to be skinny again. And now everyone wants to be muscular. So everything just cycles. It's worse for women, but for guys, there is a cyclic problem for us that we have to deal with too. So this kid didn't want to be scrawny anymore. So he decided, I'm not going to be. All right, so what did he do? Did he get a gene transplant? What did he do? He started lifting weights, eating a bunch of protein, sleeping, all that kind of good stuff. And he basically rebuilt himself from the inside in. Basically, when you exercise, you're telling your DNA, make more myosin, make more muscle proteins, make whatever, and then you're just building yourself from the inside out, which is awesome. All right. Can anyone tell me what this study is called? Can you read between the lines? All right, very good. Fit, fat twin. All right, so in Finland, this is interesting. They have complete genetic data on all the people in Finland. When you're born, they take your DNA and they sequence it all. So they have your gene program. All right, this is good. Most people are horrified by that. You should be. That's bad. Oh, we don't want all our information in the government's hands. Okay, I edited that out of the videotape. All right. But anyway, this study is really cool. They found all the identical twins, not the fraternal, the identical twins in Finland. Then they found the group of those twins where one loved exercise, one hated exercise, and they followed them. And this is pretty obvious what's going to happen here. But the twins that exercise have less % body fat. That's obvious, right? they have better glucose metabolism. They're less likely to be diabetic. More interesting, they did quantitative MRI of their noggins, their brains, and they had bigger brains. Okay, who wants to have a bigger brain? All right, who wants to, and I'm gonna be serious here, who wants their kids to be smarter and have bigger brains? You have to make your kids exercise. Now, and we'll talk about, don't want to torture the kid, but this Friday, make your kids run the 5K. All right, seriously, I'm being serious. All right, more epigenetic stuff, I'm just gonna blow through this. Basically, exercise modifies your genetic risk up to 50%. All right, makes a big difference in your epigenetic profile. All right. And this is a great study. It's looking at a couple things here. One is your genetic risk. This is another UK Biobank. I don't know if you've heard about this. The United States has just started a similar project. They're trying to collect all the morphometric data and the genetic data they can on everyone they can. All right, you have to sign consent for this. Where Britain has over 1 million people in the biobank already, the United States' goal is to have 1 million people as well. But once you get to 1 million, they're just going to keep on going. All right, so if you just look at hand grip, there's actually a test you can make people grip things, and it has an ergometer measure, and it'll tell you how much pressure you're generating. Depending on your genetic risk, the stronger you are, the less likely you are to die, just on a simple grip test. Same thing here. The more you can run on a treadmill, the less likely you're going to die, regardless of your genetic gene risk profile. All right? So exercise has a huge ability to modify your genetic risk. You're not a slave to your DNA. Okay. This is where it gets important. Let's read this all together. How to get out of an abusive relationship with your ex. I mean exercise. All right, who loves to exercise? All right, it's 5 out of, all right, we got a 5% happy rate. That's bad. All right, there's some things to think about here. These are some things I hear from patients all the time. I hate the treadmill instead of treadmill. This is my personal favorite. Satan's conveyor belt. Like they hate running on treadmills. All right. And this is when you know it's bad. Doc, what's the minimum amount of time I have to exercise? What does that really mean? I hate it. So this is important. If there's an activity you love, you want to do that activity for what? As long as you can. You want to go on vacation forever. You want to go swimming forever, go boating forever, skiing forever. Oh no, they're closing the lifts. Oh, the sun's going down, I can't water ski. But these guys are saying like, I can't wait till I get to 30 minutes so I can stop exercising. All right, the mindset is all screwed up, and that's why people hate exercise here. All right, and this is one that I really feel bad. I shouldn't have eaten that. Now I'm going to have to do a double session on the treadmill. Because then you're actually making exercise torture. It's punishment for something else you did. When you have that mindset, man, it's really hard to exercise. Because you go to a garden cafe and you have shin ramen, and you're eating shin ramen, you can't even enjoy it because you're thinking tomorrow I'm gonna go exercise. You know what's better to do? Enjoy the shin ramen. All right, just enjoy it once. All right, and then you can still go exercise. But I hear this a lot of times where people go, I gotta do double tomorrow. It's sad because they're really torturing themselves. All right, transformations. Anyone know who this is? Robert Downey Jr. So at his lowest, do you know how he got busted? Do you guys remember the story? It's really funny. He was whacked on heroin. He crawled through a little girl's window and went to sleep in her bed. So the little girl went and goes, Daddy, there's a strange man in my bed. So the dad walked into the room and go, what is Robert Downey Jr. doing in my daughter's bed? All right, it's just weird. So he went to court, he got busted, but then he decided to get his life all figured out. All right? So I don't know if you have Sherlock Holmes. This is his transformation from, and once again, it's not about the weight. It's not about now he's got a six-pack. But basically, he went from being dead in the acting world to, I don't know, he's done 5 Iron Man Adventure movies, 3 Sherlock Holmes, a bunch of stuff. He is totally rich now. All right. Better than that, he's off of drugs. But what's the big thing he credits to being able to get off drugs and turn his life around? Yeah, specifically martial arts. So he doesn't exercise. He goes, this is awesome. It's exercise for me. And he goes, this is therapy for me. I need to do this every day. So he does some, I forgot the name of the martial arts. But that's what transformed his life. Have you seen his most recent transformation? It's awesome. Okay, I was wondering, have you guys seen Tropic Thunder? Okay, I haven't. But okay, to go on here. This is important. The mindset is really important. Don't exercise. And this is a problem when I'm in clinic and I'm talking to patients. I say diet and exercise. Diet is a horrible connotation because it means typically it means restrictive. I have to give something up. Exercise is a horrible connotation because it means I have to torture myself for 30 minutes a day. All right, this is how you have to think about it here. All right. Oh, well, this is why I run. All right. Nothing is better to relieve stress than running or lifting heavy weights. Those people feel really relaxed and they can go to work and not kill people because you always want to kill people at work. All right. The first rule of not exercising is play. If you can play something, then you're in really good shape. Does anyone play any organized sports in here? Hockey, soccer, basketball? What do you play? Pickleball. Okay, pickleball is awesome. I love pickleball. All right. So if you play an organized sport, it's fun. And the same thing, you can't wait to play and you want to play for as long as you can and you're active doing it, and then also you have all the happy endorphin thing going on. All right, playing is the best thing to do. Your kids, let them play. Run around like they're doing here, that's great. Play is the most natural form of exercise. All right. The other thing is train. All right. Running, because I have to run 10 miles a day, that sucks. Running 10 miles a day because in 3 months from now I run a marathon and I don't want to die, that is really powerful. All right, if you're training for something. One of the strategies I use is I sign up for races pretty much every 3 to 4 months, so I'm always training. So you can never get to a point where you're really deconditioned and you're always looking forward to something else. Plus, when you give like $150 to like a race, you're gonna have to show up. You're not gonna just throw that money away. All right. All right. Join the right tribe. This is really important. So pickleball, same thing, tennis club, bike riding group, running club, and I hate to say this, CrossFit. All these things are ways to make you socially get engaged and actually do it, and it's more fun. All right. If you do things in total isolation, it's a lot harder to keep doing it. It's not sustainable. All right. And here's the thing, use it like therapy. This is like medicine. You have to think like, I need to do this, I want to do this. It goes a lot easier. Okay. This is the Stephen Covey thing. This is really, really important. So people always ask, yeah, you say that, how do I work it in? How do I get it in? We're going to spend like probably 5 minutes on this graph, so bear with me. All right, on the top of this are things in life that are urgent and not urgent. All right. Then there's important things to you, and whatever that is, that's fine, and things that are really not important. Where do people live most of their life? Urgent, not important. Examples. I can't believe it. I have to pay the bills tomorrow. So you know what you do? You drop everything. I'm not going to exercise. I'm going to get fast food. I got to knock out the bills because I don't get penalized on my credit card. All right. This is really funny too. Guys, oh my God, tomorrow's my anniversary. All right. You know what? That date has never changed. It's the same date. It's not a surprise. All right. It shouldn't be an urgent category, but we make it that way. When that happens, you drop everything, go to the mall, buy something for your wife. Wife's going to return it anyway. It's a total waste of time. All right. But we have to stop living here. Now the problem is, though, not urgent. What do we say with not urgent things in life? Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. So there's a couple things that are really critical. Exercise is one of them, working out. But one is like devotion. All right? So you have to make it important. It's so easy to dump it because, man, life is busy, my kids are up, blah, blah, blah. Time with your spouse. If you want to have a good relationship, it's not going to happen magically on your once-in-a-year anniversary trip. It happens on a day-to-day basis where you hang out and you listen to your wife, or you at least look like you're listening to your wife. Okay? Kid time. If you want to have a good family relationship, you're going to have to listen to your kids, and they talk about mundane, horrible, stupid things. I was a chaperone, and I was the van driver for 16 kids. And it was inane babble, like Gollum talking in the back for 5 hours in a car. I was about to kill myself. But the important thing is I was with my kid. All right, so time is really important. It doesn't have to be cool. You don't have to think Disneyland, but time is important. Non-urgent is really, really powerful. All right, and as you do devotion every day, as you work out every day, as you spend time for your wife every day, this is where you get all the gains, all the benefit in your life. All right, this is hassle. And this is where we live. We have to move up here and live our life in this quadrant of this grid. Okay? This is where everyone goes, oh. No. Okay, fine. All right. Here's a really inspirational story. Anyone know what 140.6 means? That's Ironman distance. Okay. So anyway, we have Zach here. He weighed 350 pounds, and he was just depressed, unhappy with himself. So he decided, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to run. He started running at 10 p.m. at night. Why? He's embarrassed. So he's running around his neighborhood. He goes, I don't want anyone to see me run. So it was funny. He says it took him like 3 months to go 1 mile without stopping. He's so out of shape. Then he got 1 mile. He signed for a 5K, 10K, half marathon, half Ironman, and now he does full Ironman. All right. Now the point isn't the way he looks. The point is like he's not depressed anymore. He can do whatever he wants to. If some friend asked him, "Hey man, let's go on a bike ride," 2 years ago he would say, "No, I can't do it. I'm just gonna stay home." Now he's like, "Yeah, sure, he can do it." Interesting. One of my friends asked my family to go camping with him to Glacier National Park. Who's been to Glacier? Okay, beautiful. And he goes, "But we're gonna probably do like 18-mile hikes and stuff." And the really cool thing is I was talking to him on the phone. In my mind, I knew immediately. I go, my family, my whole family, we can do 18 miles, no problem. So I go, yeah, we're in. We're going to go for it. All right. What's really sad about life is when you start turning things down, limiting yourself because you think, I can't do it. So that's the really important about being physically fit is you allow yourself the ability, the opportunity to do whatever you want to do. All right. That's the most important thing. It's not about weight loss. It's about, man, having a more full life and being able to do what you want to do. I think I need a joke. This is getting too serious out here. People are looking pretty sober. All right, this is one of my favorite quotes. This is from John Bingham. He's known as the Penguin. He's a very slow marathon runner, but he writes books to inspire people on how to run marathons. But read this with me. The miracle isn't that I finished a marathon. The miracle is that I had the courage to start. After this week is over and you go home, there's a lot of stuff we learn health-wise and spiritually that you're going to want to implement into your life. But when you start something new, what is a typical response to people? What do they say to you? Okay, so no one's tried anything in their own life? All right, so their responses are typically, man, you tried to lose weight before, you're going to fail. All right, you can't run a marathon. Or like, oh, don't even try. You're a bad swimmer, don't do a triathlon. Or forget it, man. Don't join CrossFit. Those guys are all fit and you're not. I mean, the amount of negative talk is incredible. What's worse, and most of that's from your family, when you really think about that. Now, what is worse than the outside negative talk? Yeah, there's something that's very well defined, negative self-talk. We beat ourselves up so much, it's crazy. And that really inhibits our ability to really succeed and live our life to the fullest. Don't fall victim to what other people say to you, and don't have negative self-talk for yourself. All right, I can't do it. That's what people say. Is there some promise that we can claim that says we can do anything? Oh, yeah, Philippians. Yep. Anyone know who this guy is? Yeah, Steph. So I love this guy. He's awesome. Incredible shooter. But Steph Curry, he has this on his shoes. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's his mantra. All right? So if you don't know Steph Curry, so he went to a small college, drafted later than he thought. He had severe ankle injury. Still has ankle problems now. But that's why he didn't get a big contract. That's why Nike really didn't go for him. They went for KD, LeBron, etc. So that's why he signed to Under Armour. But this guy has been kind of looked down, kind of second class the whole way, but he never gave up on himself. He believes in himself. And the reason he believes in himself is he believes in God. If you believe in God, you can do anything because he did everything. All right. Another inspirational thing, if you go on pbs.org and Google Marathon Challenge, there's a great movie. I watched this a couple times. They take 9 couch potatoes, most of them are school teachers, and they got them exemption to run the Boston Marathon. Couch potato and teachers are not synonymous with, okay, so they were couch potatoes and most were teachers, not that they're all that way, okay? But anyway, all of them finished the Boston Marathon, except for one because that person had a pretty bad knee injury. And that took 9 months of training. So you can go from nothing to finishing a marathon in less than a year. You can really turn your life around very, very quickly. All right, it's totally doable. Okay, this is a really great study. So I'm actually part of this study, but they have a big survey where they collect data on how people lose weight and keep the weight off. All right, and what they found is you have to get in the study, you have to lose 30 pounds and keep it off for 3 years. And this is what they found that people do. All right, the average weight loss is 66 pounds. It's pretty impressive. All right. 98%, I thought it would be 100%, but 98% said they changed their diet. All right. 94% they increased exercise. And this is the important thing. Like we all say we got to exercise 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. It depends on your goal. These people average just over an hour a day of exercise. All right. The other thing that's important is the most common form of exercise was all you got to do is walk. Walking is great. All right. The point I do make with the patients though is try to walk at a pace that you're a little bit huffy-puffy. If you're walking, strolling, stopping, sitting down, talking, it's not good enough. But if you're a little bit sweaty, a little huffy-puffy, and you're walking an hour, that's a really good workout. That's more than enough. All right. All right. Now, what's the minimum amount of time you need to exercise to decrease your chance of dying? This isn't weight loss. This is just to make you less likely to die. 30, 20. Yeah, it's actually 15 now. So there's a huge study from Taiwan. And what they found is the curves separate at about 15 minutes. The other thing that matters though is if you have more vigorous exercise, denoted by the blue line, your benefit, bang for the buck, goes up a lot quicker. So you can exercise less, harder, and get the mortality benefit. But if you're just like walking briskly, 15 minutes a day is more than enough. And once again, that's 1.5% of your waking hours. So you have to tell the patient, are you worth $1.50? Are you worth 1.5% of effort? And they have to be able to say yes, hopefully. Okay, there's a really cool trial. What's better for, I take care of coronary disease and peripheral vascular disease. So I'll go back here. What's better for you? If you have a blocked up artery in your leg, medicines, walking, or us going in there and putting a stent in there? What makes you walk longer? Walking. You guys know how to read me. Okay, good. So this study is true. This is optimal medical therapy, this is stenting, and this is exercise. So people that just went on the walking program had a bigger gain in walking distance, walking time by just exercise. All right, exercise is really, really useful. And this is what we do now. And this study was such big news when it hit. We tell other people, just walk a little bit, keep walking. Even though it hurts, then stop and walk again. So we're trying to get them to the point where they can just keep walking more and more. Okay. Yeah, now this is interesting. Now, there is some data that if you exercise too much, you can actually hurt yourself, right? And it's very funny because the patients that bring that up to me, I go, you're nowhere close to being in that category. I don't say that because then I get fired. But I go, that's correct. But since you're doing nothing, you can maybe do a little bit more. Okay. So this is a great study in heart attack survivors here, and this is from the Mayo Clinic. And what you find is the more you exercise, your mortality drops, but then at a certain level, it jumps up again. And they're saying there probably is a sweet spot where it's good. Too little is not good, too much is not good. There's a sweet spot in the middle. And so now, and that's tough because the sweet spot's pretty low, to be honest. But now there's some more studies here. So we'll go over this, and there's a lot of numbers, so I apologize, but this is important. There is no sweet spot.
What's the hour there? What was the hour on the graph?
The hour they were doing was like 8 Met hours per day. 8 Mets is basically going up like 2 flights of stairs. So it's not even that hard. So that's why no one really believes this. But the bigger problem was this study called the Copenhagen Heart Study. And what they found was there's a big curve here. Small study, but basically this is the reduction in death. Basically, light exercise had a big reduction, moderate had less reduction in death. But if you had vigorous exercise, you doubled your chance of dying. So when this got published, the news is all over it saying, don't exercise too much, there's a limit, you're gonna kill yourself. So now there's been 2 other huge studies, I just picked one, that's way bigger, compared 4,000 patients to 200,000 patients, and this is what we expect. There's a stepwise increase in mortality reduction the more you exercise. The more you exercise, the better you are, the more healthy you are. Now, there is a point where you can't go too far, and what's the typical example of that? Marathon. Okay, so, yeah. So people go, yeah, but you know this Philippides guy, do you guys want a history lesson, or should I just skip this slide? History lesson. But liars, okay. Okay, so Philippides, who knows who this dude is? Stick with science, Steve. That is some kind of war. It's like the Greek. Okay, so Puppet Nation War Battle Marathon. Now the crazy thing is, how long is a marathon? 26.2, but Philippides actually ran 24.85. All right, the reason the marathon is 26.2 is when they had the London Olympics, the king and queen wanted to watch the marathon from Buckingham Palace. So they rerouted the marathon course so they could see it, thus extending the marathon, which is another reason why I hate the British. Okay? Now, the other funny thing though is Philippides didn't run from Marathon to Athens. He ran from Marathon to Sparta. That's 150 miles. He rested that night. The problem was they had engaged the Persians at Marathon, and they go tell the Spartans we need them or we're going to die. So Philippides ran out there, and the Spartans, what did the Spartans say? No, we can't. We're having a religious ceremony. You're on your own. So he goes, I gotta run back and tell them that there's no help. So he slept that night, got up at break of dawn, and he ran back 150 miles. So he did 300 miles in 2 days. So then, but incredibly enough, this is too much history. Okay, I'll talk to Norma about this later, but this is very interesting. But anyway, the Athenians won. They sent another runner, because Philippides was burned. They sent another runner from Marathon Battlefield, the 24 miles to Athens, and let Athens know, don't burn down the city, we won the war. Because they were ready to destroy the city and bail. So he ran back, and then he said, victory, Nike, Nike, victory, and then he dropped dead. All right, now the cool thing, and this is the last point, because no one cares about anything I just said the last 3 minutes, is Philippides was an incredible runner, obviously. But these runners, the military runners, they were not allowed to participate in the Olympic Games or any of the games. What they did was so important, they could only do this kind of messenger running. But they would have smoked anyone else in the Olympic Games. So it's kind of cool. All right, now you don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Okay, history lesson. All right, so there's a big study about death during marathons, and we're going to go through the numbers here. Real quickly, they had about a 10-year study, and what they found over 10 years of marathons, only about 59 people had cardiac arrest, 71% of those people died. Very low numbers. When you break it down by numbers though, what happens is about 0.37 people per 100,000 will die during the time it takes to run a marathon. So it's very, very safe. All right. So if you want to do a triathlon, a marathon, you're probably in good shape to do it. Okay, and we'll skip this for time here. Just to put this in comparison for sports, this is data from motor vehicle accidents, homicides, suicides, cancer, and this is for the under 25 group, very young group, our kids, and then major cardiovascular diseases. Those far outstrip US athletic causes, US athletes, lightning strikes, NCAA athletes, other NCAA athletes. The bottom line is competitive sports is a very low risk endeavor. All right? If you're worried about your kid or yourself dying from a marathon, you're much more likely to get hit by lightning or get a motor vehicle accident or something like that. Okay, don't worry about this problem here. Okay, to really, really put it into perspective. Okay, so this FBI death numbers here. So assault rifles, this is how many assault rifle deaths are per year. This is how many deaths are from hammers. All right, we're banning hammers next year. Okay, fists, hands, feet. All right, they're going to ban fists, hands, and feet in Britain next year. All right, is there another dangerous weapon that you have in your house? Poison? Okay. Why do you have poison in your house, man? Chemicals, okay. No, it's actually this, it's TV. Okay, this is interesting. So the data shows here, Americans, we are the #1 TV watchers in the world. All right, yeah, America #1. All right, but the data from the Australian study says that for every 60 minutes of TV, you lose about 21 minutes on the back end of your life. The TV shows got to be really good to justify that. All right, is there any other problem with TVs? Sedentary. There's actually a physical. TVs can attack you. All right. Television-related injuries to children in the United States. So this is an ER paper. Basically, 17,000 kids per year go to the ER because they've been physically hurt by the TV. The #1 thing is flat screen TV that's not mounted falls on kid. Second thing is Wii remote control breaks glass and they have a glass injury. But it's not like, oh, it's like 5. It's 17,000 of these a year. All right, think about that. All right, TV is actually like striking back against us. All right? All right. Now running, I like running, so I'm kind of partial to this, but this is a great meta-analysis. And what they found is these are kind of numbers. Runners live about 3 more years longer than non-runners. This is really cool right here. Every hour you run gives you about 7 hours on the back end of your life. Remember, TB takes away 1 hour of TB, takes away 21 minutes. At 1 hour running, gives you 7 more. It's pretty good. All right. Yeah, I know people are saying, like, can I run on a treadmill and watch TV at the same time? Yeah. People say that all the time. People are smart. Okay. All right. But the other thing is, don't forget resistance training, and we'll talk about that here. And this is basically a chart that shows the more you run, the lower your mortality. All right, and that's what we just discussed here. All right. Now, one thing that's really important, and when Tony and I talked, I think 2 months ago, about Restore and doing a health series, one thing he told me, and he was serious, he goes, man, we're all getting to that age where we need to start taking care of ourselves, think of ourselves, we're going to start falling apart, and all this stuff. So it's totally true. What is the one thing that's probably the most beneficial for people, we'll just say master level, over the age of 40? What's probably the most important exercise to do? Strength training. All right. And one of the problems is, and we talked about TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. What happens is you lose muscle mass over time. You may be the same weight, look pretty much the same, but your lean muscle mass is going away. Your strength's going away, and that's a bad thing here. All right. Now, there's a great example here. Now, a lot of times women will tell me, I don't want to do weights, I'm getting big and bulky. Okay, that's almost never the case. Same thing with guys. I wish I can get big and bulky by doing weights, but it's not working for me. All right, but it's usually not a big problem here. Now, here's some data here that's very interesting. Muscular strength. So this is low cardiovascular fitness. This is high cardiovascular fitness, and this is strength rating. And they did like bench press, lat pull down. They did some standardized exercises and rated people how strong they were. And the bottom line here is, regardless if you're bad cardiovascular fitness or good cardiovascular fitness, the stronger you are, you can reduce your mortality by about 50%. So muscle strength is very, very important. This sounds crazy. There's a simple test you can do to your elderly. Like, who's got grandmas and grandpas still alive? Okay, that's probably a bad question because the converse means they're dead. So sorry about that. But if there's one thing you do to test your grandparents, if they can make it on their own. You know what that test is? It sounds really stupid. Can they do 8 air squats? If they can't do that 8 times, they probably can't make it on their own. Why? Why is that? Does that make any sense? What's one thing that they have to be able to do every day, multiple times? Go get up and off the toilet. If they can't do their own body weight air squat, and then they're going to lose balance, slip, fall, bang their head on the bathtub. So they need to have enough strength, core strength, gluteal strength, leg strength to be able to do that. All right, and that's a really simple test. And that's why a lot of times in the office, you watch people as they get into the chair on the exam table and get off, and then you make your assessment and say, this person, I'm not going to send to bypass surgery, this person's not going to get TAVR, this person's not going to get a bunch of advanced therapy because their functional status is terrible. So I can fix problem A, but problem B remains, and that's a more limiting problem. So just think about that. And so actually go home after conference, go back to your room, and see how many squats you should do. Our age group, you should be busting out 20, 25, no problem. Okay? Right. Now, there's another study looking at weight training, aerobic physical fitness, and waist circumference. All right. And what they found basically, this is looking at weight training categories: no weight training, about 0 to 25 minutes, or over 25 minutes of weight training. All right. And what they found is the people that did more weight training actually got a smaller waist. All right. And this goes why? Why does this make sense? Muscle is more dense. Also, you're burning fat. We're going to talk about this tomorrow in physiology of metabolism. But as you lose weight, your metabolism does what? No, it slows down. Your body is made to do whatever it can to save calories, save fat. Fat is long-term storage of calories. Your body does not want to touch that. It's hard to get rid of it. The one way to get rid of it is you have muscle. Muscle needs to get fueled all the time. You're burning more calories. If you get a big buff, there's some built guys in here, you have them walk around, they're burning way more calories than me because they have more muscle mass on them. All right? So muscle burns fat. You want to get as much muscle as you can. You want to have as much strength as you can. Okay. And this is muscle mass and fat mass mortality. This is actually very interesting. So we'll look at these curves here. This is high muscle and high fat, which has good survival, even though they're high fat. If you look at low muscle, low fat, that's the worst survival. The best thing you can have is muscle. And if you can get low fat on top of that, that's even better. But the dominant feature here as you age is you want to have as much muscle mass as possible. All right, and I hate to say this, I love running. Cardio does not really give you muscle mass. All right, doing push-ups, doing some weights, bands, whatever it takes, helps you give muscle mass. Okay, and then we're going to skip this for a time too. Yeah, this is a great study, the Weekend Warrior. So this study shows basically even a little bit is better than nothing. All right. Even if you like play tennis once a week, pickleball once a week, ride your bike once a week, do something with swimming for kids once a week, that's still better than zip. All right. So don't feel like, oh, I'm not a good exerciser, I'm not fit. Hey, just do it. Go hiking on the weekend. Do whatever you can. Being the weekend warrior makes a big difference here. Okay. Gwen Jorgensen. Anyone know who she is? And this slide didn't work out. I'm sorry. Okay, she won the first women's triathlon gold in Rio. All right. All right, so this is great. She met her husband, and they're both bikers. And reading the interview is really interesting. They both realized very quickly she was a much better athlete than he was. So what did he do? He quit. He quit riding professionally. And so then he became her trainer. And so what happens is she wakes up, she goes on her run, ride, swim, whatever, comes back. Then she takes a shower and gets on the couch and takes a nap as he cooks all the food, preps it, and feeds her. Then she relaxes and goes out for another workout. So he takes care of all that. He does all the food shopping, all the cooking, all the laundry. All right, I want to marry this guy. All right, this guy's awesome. All right. But the fact is, Gwen sleeps 10 hours a day. She takes a 1 or 2 hour nap a day. So what that means is she's sleeping 40 to 50% of her life. This is a highly trained, world-class athlete. All right, sleep is critically important. There's one extreme where we don't do any exercise. There's the other extreme where we do too much exercise to kill ourselves, but we can't neglect that you need to rest and recover. When you work out heavy with weights or you run really hard, when do you get all the benefit? When does that happen to your body? It happens during recovery. And people forget that, so I'm going to stack all these hard workouts day after day after day. That's how you get injured. All right? But if you work out hard, rest, recover, work out hard, rest, recover, that's when people, that's when you start saying, hey man, I'm building muscle, or my times are dropping, and you really get more and more physically fit. Okay, so this is a great mantra here. Sleep is new cross-training. Basically, eat, sleep, run, repeat. That's the cycle we want to have here for working out here. Okay, this is very, very important too. I love Steph, obviously, but we're the sum of everything we do. All right? All right. Sometimes you miss a day, that's okay. You get back on the wagon, do it again. Think about your devotional life. All right? Just because you miss one day because your kids woke up, vomited, whatever, it's not a big deal. Get back on there. Every day builds upon the last day. Eventually you're going to read the Bible through 1,000,000 times. Every day builds up. Same thing with your relationship with your spouse. Maybe you have a bad day, that wasn't a great dinner date, whatever, but the next time you're going to have more experience, more interaction, it's going to get better, better, better. Things keep getting better. You are a summation of all the effort we put into whatever we think is important in our life here. Okay, now here's some tips here for how to get this going. Does anyone know what Wings for Life World Run is? This is really cool. I'm trying to do this, but haven't been able to do it yet. So this is a run for neurodegenerative disease workout. For people that are paralyzed or have neurodegenerative diseases, this is a race, a charity to raise money for them. And what they do is they have everyone start, and then I think it's like 30 minutes later, the chase car starts. And the chase car goes at certain miles per hour, and you get eliminated from the race when the car catches up to you. And it's fun. And they don't run you over, they have to just catch up to you. People are like, oh my God. No, it's like they catch up to you. There's legal problems with that. So, but then the idea is run as long as you can, as fast as you can until you get caught. It's really fun. It's a really cool idea. All right. But we'll talk about this more on Friday. Huh?
How long is the full race?
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. I think the guy that ran the longest last time, he checked 20 miles. Because eventually the car is going to catch the human, But this is important. We should be happy, have gratitude that we can even attempt to exercise at our current pitiful level. All right. So I know a lot of people in my church, 50-year-olds, who they would kill if they could just run around with their grandkid a little bit. They're basically in a chair watching the kids play. All right, we don't want to be there. We don't have to be there. Okay, be happy that, hey, I can run a really slow 5K. Seriously, be happy with that. Like we talked before, don't exercise, play or train. All right, this is really, really important. It changes your whole mindset of how you do this thing. All right, social, join the right tribe, bike club, pickleball club, tennis club, CrossFit, I don't care. Join some kind of club here. Habits. Once we talked about the Stephen Covey thing, set aside a time, make it a schedule, make it a priority, make it happen. Like if you had an appointment with your boss, you wouldn't blow that off. If you had an appointment for devotional time, an appointment to be with your spouse, an appointment to play with your kid, an appointment to go work out, treat that like a serious commitment. All right? Like we talked about the weekend warriors, a little is better than nothing. Get whatever in you can. Even this week where you're running around doing, luckily we're not doing VBS. I feel bad for the VBS people. But people that are your garden cafe or whatever, get something in. It makes a big difference here. And this is really important. Focus on how you're going to feel after you exercise. Even when I'm running sometimes, I go, this is terrible. I mean, when you're running, you feel horrible. But at the end, you're like, man, it feels so good to sweat and work out hard. And then you feel totally justified to eat whatever you want, which is awesome. So focus on how you're going to feel after that effect. And remember, it's recreation. You're rebuilding yourself. It's not recreation. All right. Summary. This is, I promise, the last slide. Okay. So exercise is good, period. Almost any amount's good. More is better. Low risk, even with really hard things like marathons. There's a lot of things that are more dangerous than exercise, like watching TV. All right. Went through that data. You're never too old, sick, slow, overweight, or a stats post, anything to start. All right. Doesn't matter if you had your knee done, bypass surgery, whatever, you can still do exercise here. All right, and this is really important. Basically, you shape your destiny with every single choice that you make yourself. All right, thank you for your time and attention.